one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something to you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing, where, you know, winning is the only thing that truly matters.
Let me be very clear. I'll never give up. Never.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I have a great episode. I got a great show for you tonight. It's such a good show, I believe it's going to be. I could not record it last night. Couldn't do it because I was still doing a lot of different things. And as I got done doing those things, I was watching Nightcap, and they had Deion Sanders on the show, Primetime. Bro, when I tell you that was one of the funniest episodes, that is a goated episode, bro. Like, that might be the funniest episode. I was in tears. In multiple segments of the show, I was in tears. That shit was a laugh fest all the way through. If you have not seen the episode of Nightcap with Shannon Sharp, Ocho, and Deion Sanders was the special guest. He was on the entire show from start to finish, bro. Once they got past analyzing the games, bro, it was like a comedy special from start to finish. I'm trying to tell you, this was the funniest episode I done seen. And it's a funny ass show. Last night had to be the funniest I done ever seen, bro. I was on Fallout 4 last night after I had got done doing what I had to do. I was on Fallout 4 just chilling, you know what I'm saying? Creating shit. Listening to the show in tears, bro. Like, I tried to work out, couldn't do it. I was laughing too much throughout the workout. I was like, nah, I'm going to just take this one off. Y'all got to check it out. But we got a lot for you tonight. I don't even remember what week it is in the NFL. I think it's week 14, if I'm not mistaken. Or 15. It's one of them weeks, baby. It's definitely week 15 in the NFL. Yeah, so we got week 15 in the NFL. We got to go through it. And we got some things on the show tonight, man. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to start off with, well, let me just give you a little brief rundown of what we're going to talk about tonight. We got, of course, we got to talk about Sunday Night Football, Lamar Jackson. We got to talk about Dak Prescott going in, taking on the Buffalo Bills, Cam Newton. And I want to talk about Brock Purdy and the 49ers, but I want to talk about them in comparison to Baltimore. But let's start off with Baltimore, because Baltimore was in Jacksonville last night. Lamar Jackson went back to his home state of Florida, and like he do so often, put on a show. Real quick. He put on a show last night in Jacksonville. Now, I actually want to start off talking about Jacksonville because I'm probably not going to be talking about them for too long. Jacksonville's defense is a little bit better than I thought it was. It's not a lot better than what I thought it was. Like, it was almost exactly what I thought it was, but they had moments. I think really more so than anything, the Ravens had. There's a lot. The Ravens, like they usually do, leave points out on the field, bro. They just seem to do that often. Now, I know somebody will say, well, Jacksonville left points out there on the field. I think the Ravens' defense is better than Jacksonville's defense, but I will give you this. 2 drives, I believe. Trevor Lawrence did more to kill the drive than the Ravens' defense did. I feel like at times the Ravens' defense will just give teams plays. But sometimes, like last night, Trevor Lawrence didn't capitalize on them. Whereas the Ravens, on the other side, when the Jags defense, they might be a little bit more suffocating at times. But the difference is when they do give you plays to be made, Lamar can make those plays. And even if he cannot make that play, his ability to make another play with his legs or with his Lamar Jackson is just unreal, in my opinion. I don't. Obviously, if you watch the show, you've been listening for a while, you know how I feel about Lamar Jackson. But, we got to talk about Pat Mahomes tonight, too. I don't know how I forgot about that. But if you watch the show, you know how I feel about Lamar Jackson. Some of the plays, to me, like Cam Newton said, when you look at game changers, dudes who on the show, we call them the rising tide. They lift all boats. That's Lamar Jackson. Listen. Last night was just another display. What I like about watching Lamar Jackson is before Lamar, I think it was Cam Newton. And it might have even been somebody before him. Quarterbacks like those who just win. But you can clearly see they play the biggest role in their team winning, but they don't care about the stats. I like that. I like that because it was a play last night where Lamar did all the work to get down the field, and then he handed it off to Gus Edwards. And I tweeted, man, I love Gus, but he didn't deserve these touchdowns that Lamar just keep giving them. Like, Lamar do all the work to get down the field, and then he just handed to Gus. They done had drives where they don't even run the ball. Lamar get down the field, and then the first run of the drive, he'll hand it to Gus for like a 2-yard touchdown. It's crazy. That's the only reason people can still have this, his stats compared to Purdy. Because Purdy is throwing short pass. Well, I'm not finna kill Purdy right now. But you know the talent that Purdy got all over that offense, littered throughout the entirety of that offense. I like Zay. I think Zay going to be a stud. I like that Odell starting. Odell had 2 or 3 drops last night that I don't really understand how he dropped them. I think another thing I can't decide on Rashad Bateman if Lamar underthrew some of those throws, but that Rashad Bateman dropped, I haven't decided if it was an underthrow because it do look like he floated them to him, but I feel like if Bateman get out of his route better, he catch those passes. But I understand one of them I understood dropping it, but I mean, damn near every single one of them touched his hands. And I'm just from that world of, man, when that thing touch your hands, you have to reel it in. Most hands receivers are going to catch those. Now, I can understand they difficult catches and whatnot, but it just felt like the Ravens still are dealing with this drop problem here and there where they leave points out on the field. A big problem that the Ravens going to face going forward is the fact that Keaton Mitchell got hurt. And Keaton Mitchell was a stud. The amount of yards he picked up per carry, the fact that he is an explosive running back out of the backfield, he can pop around the corner. Coincidentally, him popping around the corner and avoiding contact is how he tore his ACL, so we wishing him a speedy recovery. But, shit, that even lead me into the next point. You just look at everything that Lamar Jackson losing, but I'll get into that point in a little bit. But I was watching Nightcap and I was watching how Deion Sanders made the point that I'm always making. The media addressed the Ravens as if it's only Lamar Jackson when things go wrong, and when everything go right, everybody else get the credit, or they find ways to still critique Lamar. Last night was further proof of that, and I'm glad that Collinsworth said something about it. The Ravens' offensive line, man, it just makes no sense. And then Fala, or I can't even remember how you pronounce Simpson. I can't remember which one. It was the big black dude who was filling in because Linderbaum hurt. We get down into the red zone. We about to score. We make a big play, and then we get called back for unnecessary roughness after the play, or sportsmanlike conduct after the play. Bro, you can't have backups costing you plays like this, bro. Just doing unnecessary shit for no reason. You don't play most of the season and you get in doing shit like that. That's that undisciplined shit that I don't like. The Ravens still do a lot of different. The offensive line is, to me, in shambles. Ronnie Staley got blown past multiple times last night, but that happens damn near every game. Collinsworth kept trying to give him an excuse that he's still trying to recover from some of these injuries, but he been bad all season, basically. I think I can pinpoint one game he had where he was flawless, but Ronnie Staley has struggled for the previous 2 years, really, and he can't stay healthy. I think if the Ravens don't go out looking for a replacement in the offseason, they really just don't care for Lamar too much, because you cannot have his blind side being that tragically bad on a game-to-game basis. It's a roller coaster right now. And when Tyler Linderbaum's not in the game, it seemed like things do go to hell quicker and more often than throughout the game. When you look at the Ravens, to me, the biggest problems when I look at Baltimore, it's not scoring points. This is a team that averaged 30-plus points for the majority of the games they play. So that, to me, when people look at that as the immediate jump to, that's foolish. The Ravens play, matter of fact, I'll get to that point in a minute, because that point is what's going to lead me to the 49ers point. But my biggest problems with the Ravens right now, the offensive line. They just not consistent enough, in my opinion. Pass protecting, they give up the pass rush way too quick at times. And then you look at, and that's too often Lamar got to make a play. Now, that's how you get hurt. Having to constantly avoid sacks, take sacks, make plays to get out of the sack. Like, the offensive line, in my opinion, just has to find a way to be better. And it's late in the season, so you ain't getting nobody else. Whoever in that room is in that room. So, and I imagine if somebody get hurt and you sign somebody off free agency, they can't be that much better than what you already got, because if they were, they would be on another team. And they wouldn't still be free agents. The next problem that I have with Baltimore is closing games. Last night, they did win this game, but look at how they allowed Trevor Lawrence to basically do the same shit to get up the field as if the game was already over when it wasn't. And I said, Lamar Jackson and the offense going to have to get the ball back, because at first I thought they was going to score. Now, that was this big controversial play with Calvin Ridley in the back of the end zone where they said he didn't control the ball, maintain possession, so they took a touchdown off they never ruled it a touchdown. Then they challenged it, and they still called it no touchdown. And then the dude who I can't remember this dude's name. The dude who come in with Chris and Chris and Tarico. The what do they call him? The official that talked to them. I can't remember his name at the moment, bro, but he was bitching heavy about that shit not being a touchdown. Let it go, bruh. I mean, it was not that serious. However, I actually do wish that was a touchdown, so it could have proved my point. The Ravens defense feeling like we don't have to play defense no more at certain part at the end of games is absolutely ridiculous. John Harbaugh was getting mad about it on the sideline. Chris Collinsworth spoke on it. They just let Trevor Lawrence run to the left every time to pick up massive yardage. Why not just send a spy right there? I don't understand this insistence of, let's just make them go up the field the long way because we basically got a 2-score lead. Bro, games have been lost by with a bigger lead at the end of the game. So I don't understand this take our foot off the gas pedal type of mentality. To me, that's the quickest way to be beat. And I understand you only gave up 7 points, but I think Jacksonville did more to kill themselves than the Ravens did at times. Now, don't get it twisted. The Ravens defense did have great moments in this game. They had sacks, they forced fumbles and things like that. But they have to clean up the back end of these games. And now to the offensive side of the ball, I'm not concerned about the offense as far as like Lamar Jackson gonna figure out a way to keep his team in the game, find a way to score in critical moments at all times. I have no problem. I'm not worried about that. My thing is, will these receivers continue to not just be consistent, bro? It's not enough to be consistent. You have to get better and stay consistent throughout the rest of the season. Because at this point, when you look at so many different teams that might be struggling with their receiving cores, the receiving cores might not be up to par. And we asked the quarterback to do a little bit more because those receivers are not up to par. You look at every single team that have the good receiving core. If the Ravens lose to any of those teams, it's going to be an indictment on Lamar in the media. But because none of those teams have a Pat Mahomes. None of those teams have a Lamar Jackson. Coincidentally, right now, the only two, to me, the best two quarterbacks in the NFL, in the AFC at least, but also in the NFL to me, is Lamar and Pat. Neither of those two have trustworthy enough receivers to the point of a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and some of the talent these other offenses have littered throughout their team. Hell, even a Stephon Diggs to the point of Josh Allen. But can the Ravens receivers get better, get more reliable, be more consistent? Because one of the things that I think people continue to not speak on, Lamar Jackson continued to lose key pieces to his offense. He done lost key pieces on his offensive line. On a weekly basis, it's seeming like he don't know who's going to be in at the offensive line positions. He done lost two starting running backs now, Keaton Mitchell and J.K. Dobbins. He done lost receivers throughout the season that came in and out. Actually, I think Zay Flowers done been healthy all year, so shout out to Zay. But Odell done been in and out the lineup at times. He done put together a nice little string of games. Rashad Bateman, I think this the healthiest he done been this season, but even he had missed games this season. When you look at what Lamar, and obviously he is missing Mark Andrews, his number one weapon. So when you look at everything Lamar, and I'm not even going to speak on all the defensive injuries we done had this year with key players going down. Kyle Hamilton, I said I ain't going to speak on it, then I immediately started speaking on it. Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Williams. We done had so many guys and big name guys in and out of the lineup all year. So when you look at that type of what, and mind you, this ain't even the first season Lamar Jackson done had to carry a team that's done had to deal with these type of injury problems. Lamar Jackson literally do this all the time. And I saw somebody say, what has Lamar Jackson done in the NFL to get the respect people think he deserves? What? Cause see, shit like that really just bothers me, bro. It really just grinds my gears because at what point now, what is the expectations of greatness in a franchise quarterback at this point? Because I just don't feel as though Brock Purdy, if his team was banged up in and out season to season like the Ravens, he would be carrying a team like Lamar Jackson had to be asked to do. But this is also the quarterback that they didn't want to pay at the end of the season. They had to continuously have him hold out and whatnot because, well, not necessarily hold out, but we know the fiasco that happened with Baltimore in the offseason with not paying Lamar Jackson. Eventually, they did get him paid, but this is my problem with the media. When it comes to talking about Lamar Jackson, they're always wanting to have a critique about him. When you clearly look at this offense and look at the things on this team he done had to play without, players that's done went down. And he ain't losing like his third, fourth string players. He losing key pieces, and he ain't losing them for one game. He done lost multiple key pieces, 3 to be exact, for basically the entire season. To this point, he won't have Keaton Mitchell anymore. Keaton Mitchell came in late because they didn't even know how great he was at first. So, and I think Keaton was actually recovering from an injury to start the season. Lost J.K. the first game of the season or the second game of the season. Like, now you argue to me how Brock Purdy would be playing if multiple key pieces on his team not just went down for 1 or 2 weeks, went down for the entirety of the season, went down for long stretches of the season. We saw what he played like when he lost dudes for 1 to 2 weeks. We done seen how Lamar Jackson done carried a team for 2 to 3 years with players going in and out of the lineup. And we see how it all go to hell when he get hurt. Now, we got multiple sample sizes of that. But y'all gonna keep saying, well, Brock Purdy got hurt against the Eagles and yada, yada, yada. Hey, whatever helps you sleep at night. But that would bring me to my next thing. See, I'm sick and tired of this 49ers. And if you watch the channel, you know how much I love Kyle Shanahan and whatnot. And I love Chris C. Mack. I really only talk highly of the 49ers on this channel, basically. Now that I'm thinking about it. But 49er fans ain't going to be happy with what I'm finna say next. But this is one of my problems with the critiquing of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and how they win games. Let me tell you who the Ravens done played this season. They beat Houston. That was a team that's a great team right now who we think is going to, well, I'm not saying, if I think they a contender team, trust me, I'll say that. They beat Houston, which is a team over 500, is a great team. They beat Cincinnati, that's a team over 500, that's a great team. They lost to Indy. They should have won that game. Went into the fourth quarter leading. They found a way to fuck themselves and lose that game, but Indianapolis is tied for first place in their division right now. They beat Cleveland on the road. That's the team. That's the top wild card spot in the AFC, only because the Ravens lead their division. They lost to Pittsburgh in a game which they were leading in the fourth quarter, had receiver drops left and right. But nonetheless, Pittsburgh at this time, we didn't know they sucked as bad as they did. Well, y'all didn't know they sucked as bad as they did. I did. I've been telling y'all Pittsburgh was trash from the first game of the season. Nonetheless, they beat Tennessee. Now, Tennessee might be the first game on the schedule that you could consider a weaker game. Now, when they lost to Indy, you might have thought that was a weaker game. But now we know what we know about Indy. We know that's not simple. We know that's not true. Tennessee, I thought, was bad at that time and right now. So, Detroit, before y'all knew how fraudulent they was, when they was at the high of highs, the Ravens smacked them. Arizona, this might be the second team on the schedule that you think is a bad team. They beat Seattle before y'all knew Seattle and Detroit was fraudulent, because I had already been preaching it. But before most of the media, let's say the media knew, the Ravens slapped Seattle. Cleveland. This is when Cleveland was a little shaky. People didn't know. Baltimore found a way to blow that game and lose to Cleveland. Cincinnati, in Joe Burrow's last start of the season, they win that game. The Chargers. Now, this might be the third bad team on the schedule. Now, obviously, people won't say they sucked the way they should because Justin Herbert was still playing in that game. So if this was a loss, people would have been like, oh, yeah, he lost to Justin Herbert in the back. They would have used that to their benefit. You know how this Justin Herbert thing go. But I'll say that was a bad team. The Rams, who were a playoff team when we played them that week, beat them. And Jacksonville, who was leading their division this week, beat them. So you look at this strength of schedule, as they say in college, that the Ravens done played. And they technically only done played 3 teams that's under 500 that is not in the playoff chase, even though every single team on this schedule they done played is in the playoff chase except for Arizona. That is neither here nor there, though, as far as Arizona. My point being, the Ravens done played and competed and beaten great teams all year. Now let's go. But the media keep bitching about how they not blowing teams out. I want to see the Ravens blow teams. They have blown out great teams. But they beaten great teams, and that's what's supposed to matter. But let's go to the 49ers, who people are just dick sucking left and right. Pittsburgh, who they beat to start off to beat the season. Again, I'll give them Pittsburgh because nobody thought Pittsburgh was bad at that time except for me. They beat the Rams. At this point in time, the Rams was 1-0, but most people still thought this was a rebuild season for the Rams. This was not the playoff Rams that they were late in the season now, even though we still don't know for a fact that they're going to be a playoff team, but I won't even mark that against them. The New York fucking Giants. I knew that was a bad team. Arizona, another bad team. They beat Dallas. Here the caveat. Wait a minute. Yeah, they beat Dallas in the beginning of the season before anybody thought Dallas was going to be what they're supposed to be right now. And not to mention, they beat Dallas last year. They beat Dallas this year. We know Dak don't win them big games. So I'm not giving you that. But that was a contender that they beat, even though nobody thought Dak Prescott and them boys was contenders at that time. And after Dak and them boys lost Sunday, people back off of thinking they contenders. But sure, I'll give you that one. They lost to the Browns. They lost to Minnesota. That is a bad team. No, they shouldn't have lost to Minnesota. They lost to the Bengals with Joe Burrow. They beat a Jacksonville team. Now, y'all know how we feel about Jacksonville on this channel. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat a Seattle team that now at this point we knew they sucked because this is after Baltimore slapped them. They beat Philly, who, mind you, was coming off of having to play them, Dallas. That was coming off of playing them and 2 overtime games against tough teams. But sure, they did beat another contender. But I just want to point out the compromises in both the contenders they done beat to this point. Because the other contender they played, they got slapped by in Cincinnati. Seattle slapped them again. We know at this point Seattle not a good team. And they beat Arizona last week. But we keep praising the 49ers for blowing teams out. But did you just hear the fucking schedule that I just read off to you? This is why I'm not too sure. No, actually, I done put it together. I understand why it's like this now. Because they play in the fucking NFC. And as long as the NFC is top heavy and the majority of the teams is average to below average, the 49ers going to be able to reel off games like this. This is my irritation with the media. The media is supposed to be better than this. They're supposed to be able to look at this and I did this in a couple minutes. They're supposed to be able to do this and understand how to break down everything to you truly. You don't even need to argue a Brock Purdy MVP in certain ways if you just read the fucking schedule of teams they done played. Only 3 of these teams on the schedule, and I really don't like having Dallas as being one of them, was teams that you thought could have given them a chance at losing. The rest of these teams is basically bad teams to average teams to we don't really know what this team is. On the other hand, Baltimore done play basically all the top teams in the AFC, aside from the Chiefs, who they play on a yearly basis and will probably still play this year. And we complain that they don't blow people out. Do you see my irritation? And then you got these Brock Purdy fanboys who not even really fanboys of Brock. They just 49er fans. So they hop on any quarterback that's with them. But you saw how they defended Jimmy Garoppolo. So you can't take nothing they say serious. But I saw a fanboy say, people want to argue Lamar Jackson being MVP so bad so they don't have to give it to Purdy. And that is my problem alone. This is a 49er fan who don't even look at his team and say to himself, look at the talent we have. Look at the talent Lamar have. Lamar ain't got no Brandon Ayuk, no George Kittle, no offensive line like the 49ers have. He don't have a running back that they have in C-Mac. He don't have Deebo Samuels. I just named to you multiple all-pro players. But sure, the media trying to fight against Lamar Jackson. Do you think Brock Purdy would be what he is right now if he had to play with the Ravens? If he didn't have Kyle Shanahan and all those all pros littered throughout the offense and defense. But sure, people don't want him to win an MVP. I don't understand this. I just don't want to do no type of homework. I don't want to look deeper than the facts. I don't want to do nothing but accept my bias. Because to me, the argument of Brock Purdy being an MVP over Lamar Jackson right now is silly. It's only because a weak schedule that since the 49ers have been afforded, a weak conference that they have been afforded. And you can argue, they beat the 2 top teams in the conference, both of which was compromised. But nonetheless, the talent. Like, bro, when have I ever seen an MVP win MVP when another dude on his team was on the MVP ballot? Christian McCaffrey is literally getting as many MVP arguments as Brock Purdy. How does that work? It's not a single player on the Ravens offense that you trying to argue is an MVP other than Lamar Jackson. So I don't understand this argument. It's just at this point to me, it just feel like people, and I'm getting real sick and tired of people trying to say you don't know football when they argue for Brock Purdy. No, my guy, you don't know football because it's no shot with everything I'm telling you right now, with everything I done given you. It's no shot you believe Brock Purdy is MVP over Lamar Jackson. That, to me, that's insane. But that's just me. Next up, I want to talk about Dak Prescott. Listen, Josh Allen only had to throw the ball 7 times to win this game because James Cook been cooking. All right, listen to me. Listen. I got to praise James Cook before. This is what I've been wanting to see from the running back position. Listen, if you listen to the show, I tell y'all all the time, the running back position is not as important, obviously, as some people make it out to be. And it's not as important as it used to be, but it's also not as bad as some people try to say it is. It's not as unimportant as some people try to say it is. Because to me, it's certain quarterbacks who, if you give them a great running game, they damn near going to guarantee you. They already guaranteeing you 10 plus wins a season, but they're guaranteeing you that they're going to be a serious playoff contender and Super Bowl push every year. Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. You give them dudes take Jalen Hurts off. I don't think he on their level yet. But you get those other guys. Take Joe Burrow off too. You keep Joe Burrow. I'm so torn on it right now. I do this shit every time. Cincinnati fans gotta hate me. But listen, you get those dudes great running backs compared to what they already can do for the team. You get them guys. It's not even just having a great running game. It's giving them talent that can take the pressure off of them and get them to do. If they don't have to carry you every game and it's multiple parts throughout a game where they can be carried by other players, that give you a greater chance at winning. Lamar Jackson don't have to have a whole bunch of insane stats this year because he got other guys on the offense that's doing their jobs. Pat Mahomes, his stats is down this year also, but I like to lean towards what he did last year, where his stats wasn't as great as gaudy as we done seen before, but you still see what he had to do. He had the other guy. Matter of fact, lean back to when he had Kelsey and them boys. Look at what he could do when he had those guys carrying the load, when he didn't have to go out there and do everything. Now look at him this year, when he got to go out there and do everything because his dudes don't catch. And Isaiah Pacheco, a dude who took so much pressure off of Pat Mahomes because of how great he ran, he been hurt with a shoulder injury. And look how much harder it's done got for them again. And they even blew a team out yesterday. Now, granted, it was the Patriots, but, you know, a win is a win. A win is a win is a win is a win. And what my boy say? What my boy Jalen tell y'all? When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing, where winning is the only thing that matters. Ha ha. Ha ha. Where were we at? Oh yeah. So shout out to the James Cook and the Buffalo Bills. Maybe this offensive coordinator you got right now is teaching you something. Run the ball. I know the boys was in the locker room like shook, bro. Like they motherfuckers was having out of body experiences. Like, bro, we really just won a motherfucking football game without having Josh Allen throw for like 300, 400 yards. This man completed 7 passes and we won. I know Josh was like chilling. Like, my guy, Josh, you gotta put some incentives down now. You gotta, cause James Cook been balling since the firing of Ken Dorsey. So funny what can happen and look at how you extend Josh Allen. Now, it's not going to be a long one about Josh Allen, pause. You know how much I love Josh Allen. I tell y'all all the time, that's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't go at Josh Allen the way other media channels go at Josh Allen or the way the media go at Josh Allen. To me, it's just insanity to think that just because he turned the ball over a lot, that somehow he costing his team more than the other things around him. That's insane to me. This is why I get irritated when I talk sports with certain fans, because it's clear that they don't understand the game at a truly deeper level. They don't understand what's going on. Because a player like Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Josh Allen, I don't care how much they turn the fucking ball over. They done shown you on far too many occasions, bruh, I can get us a win. I can take us there. And I'm not talking about a Super Bowl. That's only Pat Mahomes have done it. but I give you the best chance of winning. Not trying to put the ball in some other body's hand, not trying to scheme up some great. No. You need to coach me up at certain points, yes, but I am the difference maker. I am the rising tide. That's why I get irritated when people be bitching about interceptions and shit like that. Josh Allen need to be able to be Josh Allen. Let Lamar be Lamar. Let Pat be Pat. The only thing that should stop them from being what they are is the bums around them. If they got players around them not doing their jobs, that could clearly stop them from being what they need to be. If they got bad coaching around them, that could clearly hinder them. But more times than not, apart from winning the biggest team awards you can win in football, they usually gonna get you damn near close to it. And in Pat Mahomes' case, now Pat Mahomes has had a better all-around supporting cast, in my opinion, in totality. Then he definitely had a better one than Lamar. But I'm trying to think with the Josh Allen one, because boy, Josh done had some great defenses. But to me, he done had a better offense, but for the simple reason Josh has only ever had Stephon Diggs. And they have never given him anything better than that or even close to Stephon since. They overhyped Dawson Knox. They overhyped Gabriel Davis. They overhyped anybody on that offense. And in the actuality, Josh has only ever had one guy to be able to rely on consistently, and that's Stephon Diggs or himself. So, But now I want to hop to the offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. Dak. Y'all know I fuck with Dak, bro. I've been watching him since his Mississippi days. Did he go to Mississippi State? What's them ugly ass colors? I know he played with that like ugly burnt reddish looking shit. Burgundy, I think they call it. I can't remember if that was Mississippi State or Mississippi. I think it was Mississippi State. But I watched Dak in college. So Dak, what I'm finna say is coming from a place of love. But Cam Newton was right. But it's no shocker because I've been on the fence about it, but this is what I've been waiting for. The reason I couldn't hop off the fence completely and stay where I was at was because they haven't played no great teams that I felt like wasn't compromised. Buffalo Bills was a great test because of Josh Allen. Y'all know how I feel about the quarterback position, baby. There's certain quarterbacks that I done seen other quarterbacks beat. I done seen Lamar and Josh Allen beat each other. And pause on all this. I done seen Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson beat each other. I done seen the Joe Burrow beat those guys and those guys beat him. You know what I don't get to see often? Is Dak Prescott beat these top tier quarterbacks. I see him beat teams that y'all think might be good, even though this year with, him and the Dolphins specifically, and we're going to get to the Dolphins too, but I don't see him beat these top tier quarterbacks consistently like the top tier quarterbacks go out there and do. And I'm not even talking about just in the playoffs. People always want to use his playoffs. That's a team thing. Plus, bro, the playoffs is like, what, 3 games, 1 game, you out, bro? I can't just use the playoffs for everything, bro. You got to use the season, too, because that's how you get to the fucking playoffs, bro. We're not finna do what they do in basketball and act like these 17 games don't matter. That's insanity. If Peyton Manning didn't have great seasons, he wouldn't be the Peyton Manning that you think he is. That's why y'all talk shit about Eli, but not about Peyton, so stop it. Dak Prescott's inability to beat the Lamar Jacksons, the Pat Mahomes, the Joe Burrows, the Josh Allens, that's a problem for me. To consistently beat that Eagles team, haven't beaten the 49ers. Neither one of them two teams have the quarterback. Could you imagine if he had to play against Philly with a Pat Mahomes, San Fran with a Lamar Jackson, or a Josh Allen on San Fran, and a Joe Burrow on the Eagles? Dak would never get to a Super Bowl over there, and that's where I'm at with it. If he cannot prove that he can be a top-tier quarterback, this is why Cam thinks he is a game manager. Now, after that game yesterday, do you think GMs are still going into the draft saying we need a Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? Even with Josh Allen only having to complete 7 passes. Let me tell you the difference of a great quarterback. A great quarterback can do what Josh Allen did yesterday because it's not just what he do on the field in that game. It's what he's done throughout his career that gives him the aura that he has. This ain't, bro, going into a game against the Bills is completely different than going into a game against the Miami Dolphins. Why? Because Tua on the one hand, and Tua done had a win against the Buffalo Bills, but Buffalo religiously beat the shit out of them. Tua done had wins against other good quarter, but it ain't often. You don't look at Tua and say, okay, that's Tua on the other side of the ball. You say it's Tyreek and there are a lot of weapons on the other side of the ball. When Dallas goes into that game against the Dolphins, they won't be saying, we got to stop the quarterback. They're going to be saying we need to stop this stuff around the quarterback, and then that'll shut the quarterback down and make him one-dimensional anyways. When you go in against Buffalo, you saying we got to figure out how to stop Josh Allen, and then we can figure out how to shut everything else around him down. But if we can't stop Josh Allen, if we can't stop Lamar Jackson, if we can't stop Pat Mahomes, then we ain't winning this game. That's what Cam was simply talking about. See, a lot of times y'all don't like the person who delivered the message. Y'all hate the messenger. And so you don't even listen to the message. And that's a problem. I don't understand why. For one, I don't even understand why y'all hate Cam Newton. And the more and more I done heard Kimberly Martin's rant on Cam Newton, bro, the more and more I get irritated with it. And I'm not getting to I haven't moved to that point of I don't want to hear nothing else Kimberly Martin say, because I understand that was a slip in the system of her own. But boy, I wish she would apologize for that moment, because I really don't like that moment, boy. But nonetheless, somebody gonna be like, man, this dude. So, but nonetheless, I just don't like. All I'm gonna say is if Cam Newton said what she said about him to her in some other type of way, it'll be an uproar. That's all I'm saying. But nonetheless, if the media had took a step back last week and stopped hating on Cam Newton, a human being, for whatever weird ass reason they hate him, and had to just listen to what he was saying, they would have understood exactly what the man was saying. Dak Prescott, for as great as he is, for as great as he done looked the last 2 years, he's a game manager. After Cam Newton said what he said, nobody still said, I want to go into the draft and get a Dak Prescott. You can't even tell me what make Dak special. The first thing you're going to say is the type of weapons he done had throughout his career. The Amari Coopers, the CeeDee Lambs, the Michael Gallups, the Ezekiel Elliott's. All those players in their prime is better than any player I could tell you for the Baltimore Ravens that Lamar done had during their primes. And maybe Zay Flowers get there. And obviously Mark Andrews is the outlier. But who else could you say done been in a prime again with Lamar and done been anywhere near as good as who I just named for the Cowboys? Amari Cooper's still a stud with the Browns. And Dallas has not been able to win at the highest level with that type of talent. But y'all keep telling me that Dak Prescott is a game changer. That's just simply not true. I didn't come on here to murk Dak or Brock Purdy. But these are simply facts. And if you understand the game of football, if you watch football in the right perspective, it's not hard to see that. It's not hard at all, specifically when you look at the talent level on those other two teams compared to what Lamar is playing with, compared to what Pat Mahomes. Do you think? See, a lot of analysts don't do their job. So they'll say, do you think anybody else could do what Pat Mahomes doing on this team? No, I don't think so. Yes, I do. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson would still be in the playoffs right now if they had the exact same. You swap them with Pat Mahomes, they're still playoff contending teams. Specifically Lamar. If you swap Lamar with Mahomes, put Mahomes on the Ravens, still great teams. I still truly believe those two quarterbacks are rising tides. If you put Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott on this Chiefs team, they're probably not in the play. It's not no probably. Neither one of these two teams in the playoffs. And I saw somebody say the other day, and this shit really irritated me. A dude said if you take Dak Prescott, what team was it, and put him on Washington, that Washington would be a playoff team. Yeah, see, I'm tired of y'all just letting, there's two things I'm tired of. I'm tired of y'all disrespecting Mike McCarthy. And I'm not even tired of y'all overhyping Dak Prescott. That's not my second thing. I know somebody probably wanted me to say that, but I don't care that y'all overhype Dak Prescott. I fuck with Dak, so I could care less about that. I'm going to always be real when I talk about him, but I care less that y'all overhype him. That's one of the few people I care less that y'all overhype, because the proof is Dak, when you overhype Dak, I know you probably a Cowboys fan, because I mean, it's so glaring that Dak Prescott is not one of them. But because I fuck with Dak, I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to always be getting on here pushing back on him, because I don't think that's like, as long as you're not going out there telling me Dak Prescott is better than Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, I could really care. Now, I got pushed back. I started pushing back because y'all motherfuckers started saying he was better than Cam Newton. And then Dak Prescott ain't not one point in his career has he been better than no fucking Cam Newton. That's my problem with y'all. A nigga Somebody like Cam Newton, you cannot judge him the way you judging a game manager. Game managers usually, so if that's the case, Alex Smith was better than Cam Newton. Shit. When Alex Smith had all that talent with the 49ers and that talent with the Chiefs, shit, I guess he was better than Cam Newton. Take any of them players that y'all think better than Cam Newton and put them on the teams Cam Newton had. Specifically that team he took to the Super Bowl that was 15-1. And I want to see if those teams do the same thing. Because I know they won't be. I know those teams that Panthers team won't be the same with those quarterbacks. But sure, Dak Prescott better than Cam. This is what I'm saying. Y'all have to learn how to watch these games and watch them from the right perspectives. Cam Newton and Dak Prescott is not the same players. And when I say not the same players, I'm not talking about how they play the game. I'm talking about one of them is a game manager who benefits from a great team around him. The other one have to be great or the team around him will fail. That's a different way you have to watch those two games. You cannot watch Cam Newton and think to yourself because he ain't putting up the numbers that Dak put up that he not the same player. Simply because he ain't got the talent on his team that Dak got on his team. He not asked to do what Dak not asked to do what Cam Newton is asked to do. Dak ain't never been asked to do what a Cam Newton was asked to do throughout his career. What a Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen been asked to do throughout their careers. This is why I get irritated with the Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott conversations of MVP. It's no way. People saying Dak Prescott killed his MVP chances yesterday. Dak Prescott should not have been number one in your MVP votes. It's only because of stats and the bad teams that they've beaten. I should have written the Cowboys schedule down too. But that's my problem. If y'all stop half-assing y'all theories and whatnot based off of the half-ass shit that the media give y'all, this would not be so hard for y'all to understand and accept. Getting mad that people tell you Lamar Jackson should be an MVP over Brock Purdy should not upset you. Now saying that, now I'm going to tell you what'll upset me when you tell me that Christian McCaffrey should be MVP over Lamar Jackson. Because I understand for the San Francisco 49ers, the MVP on that team is Christian McCaffrey. I 100% agree. But because he is a running back, he is not the MVP over Lamar Jackson. It ain't happening. So stop playing with me, bro. I'm never going to tell you something. I didn't agree with Adrian Peterson winning MVP over Peyton Manning. I still ain't forgot about that. And I love Adrian Peterson. I think I was more irritated that they gave it to a running. I will never give a running back an MVP over. Bro, you got to run for about 5,000 yards for me to give you an MVP over a quarterback that's having a great year. It's just no way. And stats to me is what's killing these things. Stats should not matter. MVP is most valuable player. You take Lamar off the Ravens, this ain't the team that they are, especially with all the injuries that they done suffered. They probably a lottery team or close to it. I understand how great John Harbaugh is. I understand it. But some things you just can't coach past. But, you know, that's my thoughts on the Dak Prescott situation. I love Dak. But Cam Newton was right. It's just a difference between a game manager and a superstar, a game changer. It's as simple as that. And Dak keeps showing y'all that he ain't no game changer, that he is a game manager. And I think it's one of my biggest frustrations with Dak is how much he does shrink when he play the other great quarterbacks. He had that game against Rodgers where he was bad for the majority of the game. And then when they got to the end of the game, when the game was basically over, then he started to come to life. He do a lot of garbage yards stacking when the defense started to lean up. But against these great quarterbacks, these quarterbacks that you know is going to be future legends, he shrink up. Y'all keep bragging about him almost beating and then beating the Eagles. Jalen Hurts ain't on the level of them other dudes. Now, I'm going to tell you what I find funny. Because y'all know how much I love Jalen Hurts. White people is real quick to tell you that Jalen Hurts is a product of all the talent around him. But they never say, they get mad at you when you tell them Brock Purdy is a product of the talent around him. That's interesting to me. Now they'll say, oh, well, Jalen Hurts wasn't good before he got the talent. Jalen Hurts took the Eagles to the playoffs before he got all that talent. You've never seen Brock Purdy play without the talent. Oh, yes, you have. He lost all 3 of them games. You see my frustration when people say, oh, you can't bring race. Why are you bringing race up? What the fuck is that? But I digress. Pat Mahomes. He had a moment on the sideline in his game where Kadarius Toney dropped the ball that ended up being an interception. They did still win the game, but I'm seeing people, people bitching about him getting mad on the sideline and whatnot. And I told y'all last week that him blowing up at the ref, that was his emotions he wanted to take out on Kadarius Toney, but he a great teammate, so he's not going to do that. But at this point, I told y'all last week, whose fault is it that Kadarius Toney continue to be put in position to fuck his team? Andy Reid. If they keep putting him out there on the field, you should keep expecting the same thing. Why not? Why expect something different when he keeps showing you what he is? I'm not understanding why people so mad at Kadarius. Y'all use one game, one highlight to dictate everything and not a string, not a pattern of things. Kadarius Toney done shown you more bad in his career than good. But because of his Super Bowl last year, y'all keep wanting to act like Kadarius Toney is better than the player he actually done put on film. Whose fault is that? And then people getting mad like Pat Mahomes can't be mad. Motherfucker got two Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. But sure, he can't get mad. Y'all get on my nerves, man. Y'all wasn't doing this. Obviously, we got to drop the line that they drop on Twitter all the time. I never saw y'all do this with Brady, Peyton, when he was blowing up at teammates. And they was actually blowing up at teammates and coaches. Pat Mahomes not doing that. The only thing Pat Mahomes did in the last 2 weeks that irritated me a little bit was when he went up to Josh Allen after the game and was still bitching about the call. Like, Pat. Don't say that to Josh, bro. Josh ain't got shit to do with that, and you make it seem like he didn't go out there and bust his ass for that win. I don't like that. I don't like making somebody feel like I'm diminishing what they went out there and did, bro. Especially if I had to compete against him. Unless it was some, like, clear and obvious buffoonery. But the clear and obvious buffoonery was on the Chiefs side of the ball. So I don't understand why. Talk to if I was Josh, I would have been like, man, talk to your homeboy. Tell that motherfucker to line up on sides from here on out. Motherfucker could have reached across and touched Von Miller's helmet for all we knew. So that's my only thing with that. But y'all got to lay off of my boy Pat Mahomes, man. Dead ass, bro. But before we get on up out of here, let's go over some of these games. Let's go over the games, actually. Tampa Bay was in Green Bay. They end up winning 34-20. Bro, Green Bay got to fire their defensive coordinator. And like I said last week, they have to go out and get some different linebackers. Now I'm at the point where I think they need to replace. Preston Smith is interesting because he's a great pass rusher, but they are not good in coverage, and that is a problem. And I understand Jair done been injured, and I understand the different type. I don't agree with them trading away they slot corner earlier in the year, Rasul Douglas. But nonetheless, they have to do something on defense. This has been the worst looking defense I done seen from the Packers since LaFleur took over. Jordan Love has not played great the last 2 games, but he ain't been playing bad enough for them to lose. I don't really know what's going. The Packers to me is just going through these phases of they just haven't figured it all out yet. So I'm not gonna kill them too much. Great game by Baker Mayfield. Ever since I shitted on Baker, I was about to say he'd been playing better, but that just simply would not be true. But he done made plays here or there. So shout out to Baker. He had a great game yesterday. Atlanta and Carolina. Carolina won 9-7. Chicago, Cleveland. Cleveland ended up winning 20-17. Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions, but he also threw basically a Hail Mary that helped them win this game at the end. Once again, listen, the fourth quarter for the Bears is what it is. People going to blame that wide open drop that Buddy had. But if you want to continue to use one play that costs teams, then we could do this all season. Listen, in my opinion, I'm not going to even get into this. I told y'all, we're not doing long conversations about Chicago no more this year. They're out of the playoffs. Shout out to Cleveland. New York Giants, they lose 6-24 against the New Orleans Saints. So I think New Orleans is second in that division now. I think they're ahead of the Falcons. Yeah, they are because the Falcons lost yesterday. And Tampa Bay, even though I told you the scenario in which Tampa Bay could become first in the division a couple weeks ago, now they fulfilling the prophecy that I set forward for them a couple weeks ago. Kansas City beat New England 27-17. Houston beat Tennessee in overtime 19-16 when Tennessee, for some odd-ass reason, decided to wear their old Houston Orioles. The Houston Oilers unis. The Jets end up losing 0-30 to the Miami Dolphins. Zach Wilson had to lead his game due to a concussion and dehydration. San Francisco slapped Arizona 45-29. Washington loses 20-28 to the Rams. Dallas lost 10-31 to Buffalo, and Baltimore won 23-7 on Sunday Night Football. Philly and Seattle will play tonight, and obviously I'm taking Philly to win that game. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I hope everybody's having a good day, good afternoon, good night. Hope you're having a happy holiday season. I fuck with y'all. I love you. Go out there, tell somebody you love them and you fuck with them. You could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. Saint out. I saluted too early, bro. I had saluted before I actually said the Saint out. But anyways, like, subscribe, share. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.